Hey, it's Tommy B, host of This Is the G podcast. To keep our podcast real and unfiltered, we accept limited sponsorship dollars. Instead, we depend on you, our listeners. Now you can support us and look good buying our swag. Our merchandise store is open for fall 2022. You'll find coffee mugs, shirts, hoodies, and there's more to come. Look for the link in our podcast notes of each show or go to our page at castropolis.net/This Is the G podcast. That's castropolis.net/This Is the G podcast. Be a G. Support the podcast, y'all. News, politics, pop culture, and that piping hot tea from the one and only Tonya B. This is the G podcast.
The next time you drive through Central Georgia, we've got a radio station we think you'll love. We're Magic 100, playing all of the songs you grew up with. You'll find us at 100.1 FM. That's 100.1. On I-75, you can tune us in from the north at Locust Grove and from the south when you get to Perry. 100.1 FM. Classic soul hits. Magic 100.
This is the G Podcast with your host, Tommy B.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to This Is the G Podcast. It is at episode 151. What's up, y'all? And before we jump in, I got to just say again, welcome. I'm your host, Tommy B, and my co-host will be coming up in just a minute. But I got to say this, man, big thanks to Rob Redding. Redding News Review this week, man, had me on his national show Tuesday. And we talked about the novella, the nightmare journals. Man, called me out of the blue and just said, hey, man, hey, I need you on today's show. So here's the deal. To hear the interview, go to castropolis.net, click on the press release on the main screen, hit the player. And I just got to give a big ups to Rob Redding, man. Just say thank you, brother. Called me out of the blue. And Nightmare Journals, again, is available on Kindle-vella. Thanks to all you who have uploaded it, downloaded it, however it takes. You know, Kindle app is still available. But big thanks to Rob Redding Jr. And I just wanted to say that before we got rolling. What's up, y'all? This is the G Podcast. Again, each week we do news, politics, pop culture, that piping hot tea from the one and only Tonya B.
Hey.
Tonya B, what's going on? I know you were like, is everything okay?
Yeah, everything is fine now. My mic fell over, my ring light fell down. No, I'm good. I am here.
Hey, good. Glad that you're here. Again, the Byrdwire Fridays and Saturdays nights, 8 p.m., 10 p.m., Saturdays at noon. Again, if you miss the show live, you can catch it on demand at castropolis.net. This week's episode where she talks about Soul Food, the movie, and celebrates 25 years is up.
Yes.
Just go there, click the Byrdwire logo. What else you got, Tonya B? What's going on?
Well, I got a lot of great feedback and very quickly about saluting the movie and some of the best music and some of those, I guess, historic audio clips. So next week on the Byrdwire, staying in the spirit of Nia Long, I will be saluting the music of another movie that's at its 25th anniversary, and that is Love Jones with Nia Long and Lorenz Tate. So
yes, that's the
look
movie,
forward to
man.
that.
That's my movie.
Mm-hmm.
I hate the guy Theodore Wicker, who was the director. That was really the only film he did.
No, not really.
Crazy.
It was. Well, you know what's interesting? That movie, it cost him $10 million to make, only made $12 million. But, again, that was, the standards back then were different than now. And the thing about it is it's like Soul Food. It's one of our, cultural cult classic movies. So that's where the success is.
I agree. Appreciate you, Tonya B. And again, check out the Byrdwire on demand. Go to castropolis.net, click on the Byrdwire logo, and it's right there. And y'all,
thank you, Lady J.
Yes. Appreciate you, Lady
J. Yeah.
Big time. My brother from another mother is in the building. Y'all give it up for the one and only Vi. Yes. Country commentator.
Yeah.
Pride of Forsyth, Georgia. Give it up. Vi, let me ask you, Vi, are you happy? You seem like you're kind of happy. I know the Falcons lost this week. The Bulldogs did not play.
I need the Falcons to start losing. We can't get no quarterback that keep winning.
That's what I'm talking about. Now you moved away from the Bryce Young to the CJ Stroud. Are you on the CJ Stroud train? out of Ohio State.
I would take either one of them over what we got, but I don't think our line's strong enough for Bryce Young.
No, I agree. I agree.
He's going to take some hits behind our line. He ain't big enough to take them hits.
Dude.
We don't block that well. So we need some other
I agree. You know what? I got to say this. I know some of the fans might be a little disappointed today, but Brady lost. The Bucks lost, and the Saints are horrible too. So
Green Bay lost. Green Bay lost.
Saints been horrible. What are you talking about?
Oh no! Wait, what's his name? Who's the coach? Who left? Sean Payton.
Yeah, Sean Payton. He went for them to fight a San Diego coach. That's what he want. He want that quarterback.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, y'all. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and jump right in. We got a lot of information to talk about this week, so let's go ahead and do news with Syracuse Mike, and we'll be right back. Here we go.
News team, assemble!
It's time for the Week in News with Syracuse Mike.
Troubling news from the National Institutes for Health concerning hair straightening products and a possible connection to uterine cancer. AURN's Jamie Jackson says black women may be more affected due to higher use.
The research found no associations with uterine cancer for other hair products that the women who were in the study reported using, including hair dyes, bleach, highlights, or perms. Now, several chemicals that have been found in straighteners, like parabens and metals and formaldehyde, among others, could be contributing to the increased uterine cancer risk observed. For AURN News, I'm Jamie Jackson.
According to the NIH report, burns and lesions may make matters worse. According to estimates, over 133,000 people showed up at the polls Monday, setting a state record for advanced voting during a midterm election. Black voters represented 39% of Georgia's early voters Monday. 29% of the state's registered voters are black. Ugly would be a fair way to describe the campaign between Warnock and Walker. In an effort to take the spotlight off of him and the abortion allegations, Herschel Walker held a press event outside of an apartment building in Atlanta owned by a subsidiary of Warnock's church, Ebenezer Baptist Church. Walker says the apartment complex is evicting people who are struggling financially.
Where is it in Matthew 25? Does it say that you can evict people that are struggling?
Warnock's campaign manager, Quentin Folks, says there have been no evictions at the property, and Warnock has nothing to do with the day-to-day operations. His team says evictions may have been filed, but were not carried out. Georgia continues to break turnout records for early voting. As of Wednesday morning, 291,740 people have voted. President Biden has a message for oil companies. Pass on your massive profits to consumers. He also announced the release of 15 million barrels of oil from the U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve and says it will be replaced when oil dips down to around $70 per barrel. The president says his administration will pump more from the reserve if needed.
We're calling it a ready and release plan.
In the meantime, Republicans are calling Mr. Biden's actions politically motivated. To that, he said,
Look, it makes sense. I've been doing this for how long now?
This isn't an additional release. Wednesday's move completes the 180 million reserve drawdown that started last spring. She lasted just 45 days, the shortest tenure in UK history. Liz Truss is out as Britain's prime minister. The Conservative leader struggled to get support from massive tax cuts in an effort to jumpstart economic growth.
Given the situation, I cannot deliver the mandate on which I was elected by the Conservative Party. I have therefore spoken to His Majesty the King to notify him that I am resigning as leader of the Conservative Party.
Britain elects a party, not a particular leader, and now there's even talk of bringing back Boris Johnson. The January 6th committee has formally sent a subpoena to former President Donald Trump, compelling him to testify under oath about his potential knowledge of the attack on the Capitol. The subpoena also seeks documents and records of all January 6th related calls and text messages, sent or received. You can expect a huge legal battle. Just hours before the January 6th panel issued its subpoena, Trump's former strategist Steve Bannon was sentenced Friday to 4 months in jail after he defied a subpoena from the same committee. Bannon after the sentencing.
Their judgment day is on 8 November when the Biden administration ends.
A federal appeals court says Senator Lindsey Graham must testify before a special grand jury investigating whether then-President Trump and his allies broke the law trying to influence the 2020 election in Georgia. Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis wants to bring Graham in for questioning over phone calls he made to Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger. The Secretary of State says Graham asked him if he had the power to toss out certain absentee ballots.
Hey, just a couple of quick things. The hair straightening product thing, hopefully black women are kind of shifting away from that and getting into the natural stuff, because that's kind of troubling that it's leading to uterine cancer. So just beware of the products you're putting in your hair. Tonya B, you could speak to that. I mean, probably in terms of how women are using that.
Again, it was falling into that, I call it the mind trap of thinking that if you wanted to be successful or if you were intelligent, that you had straight hair. That is not the case anymore. I'm glad there's not as much hair discrimination as there has been over the years. And the other thing is, people, if you're putting lye into your system, every 6 to 8 weeks or 8 to 12 weeks, of course, it's going to become detrimental, number one. But, one thing that people get mixed up, and I need to correct that reporter, permanent is, we call it perm, but it's permanent cream relaxer. And people would say, when, people of color perm their hair, it goes straight. But when, Caucasian people perm their hair, it gets curly. So just, clearing that up. And the same thing when they do, these perms they don't get as close to the scalp, but the solution still gets into the scalp. So I would be curious to know what the effects are on non-women of color, people that, do the curly perm, if you will, almost like the Jerry curl.
Yeah.
What happens to people who, do not use hair? And don't forget, the hair straighteners are used by Japanese people. They're used by Brazilian people, and they are just as dangerous.
Yeah, agreed. And we'll keep you posted as we get more information on that as well. Another thing, big numbers in early voting. Got to give it up to my folks in Georgia. 39% on Monday of those folks who turned out for that big voting, pre-voting day of early voting, 39% were black. Blacks only make 29% of the state. So in terms of registered voters, so definitely we are definitely trending ahead. Also as Mike reported on Wednesday, 291,000 voters. That's huge. I gotta say, yeah, absolutely. A big thanks to Karen Renee and the NAACP. And as a matter of fact, go to Karen Renee's IG page. She didn't tell me to do this, but y'all need to check it out because I follow her at KRENE10, K Renee 10, and she has a lot of the events that are happening in the city and around the state, definitely within the city, because that's how I found out about the Kerry Washington event. Also a shout out to, the folks at Spelman. I think their homecoming was this weekend because, Stacey Abrams was there. Of course, she's an alumnus. And also Angelina Jolie. Her daughter,
her adopted daughter goes there. Yeah, she's trying to be swirly now, but okay. Let's see how long that lasts.
But she was there, and I got to at least, she's stomping for Stacey Abrams. So, as a matter of fact, we talked, and you mentioned also, Tonya B, Obama's going to be in town on October 28th on Friday, as we tape today. That's this upcoming Friday. So a lot of folks are really getting on this get out to vote early. I mean, of course, we've had a couple of organizations on to talk about voting. And the big thing is, y'all, do early voting. You got this full week. You've got next weekend. Don't wait until the day of. It's treacherous.
Right.
You don't know what's
October 4th, which on that Friday, and what's interesting, I'm glad to see, and I'm not hearing as much, and I try to keep my ear to the ground, like you said, Tommy B. They can't come with all that suppression crap they tried last time and all that, So I haven't heard of any major issues that have gone down. Like if you recall last time, people were in line to vote. All of a sudden, the power went down, the machines went down. this, that, and the third. And, I just, again, encourage people to, just because you went and voted somewhere last time, when they change the redistricting of your polling place, they don't always tell you. So just make sure that you are going to the correct polling place, because the devil is busy and the trickeration is still going on.
My big thing is you don't wait, because when you do have trickery that occurs, you've got more time to correct it. If you're in a situation and you're getting off from work and you got until 7:00, now once you get in line and all that, the rules, you have to be able, granted, the opportunity to vote. But if things are happening day of, a lot of folks have done, basically, if it's taken too long, they leave. So don't do that. Make sure, go ahead, y'all. I know, and I know a lot of folks don't, the words out there like, I don't think it's going to matter. It ain't going to count. Let me tell you, a lot of these votes, a lot of these early votes are coming from Black folks. And as a matter of fact, I had a conversation this week, a text conversation with Harold Michael Harvey, and his numbers, the numbers are starting to support the fact that this is a big blue wave. It's at least in the metro Atlanta areas, in Georgia, because again, we've got Warnock, and we've got, Abrams, I didn't want to mention, the deputy dog. I'm not even gonna call him. I'm gonna call him Deputy Dog. I don't have to mention his name. Y'all know who he is.
Okay. Yes, we do.
Y'all know who he is. I'm just gonna call it.
You see that? Did you see the commercial with the sheriff that gave him the badge? So that is a real badge.
Come on, dude.
It's a real badge from Walmart.
Come on, Deputy Dog.
The sheriff said, "This is a real badge." He said the Herschel badge ain't real, then his must not be real.
Herschel's taking on Deputy Dog,
real.
y'all. I mean, I'm talking. Damn, I said his name anyway. Warnock is taking on Deputy Dog. And then you've got Abrams against Kemp. So, a lot of activity.
What's the stats saying about Abrams right now?
Well, I don't really want to get into the polls, because I still don't think the polls represent are actually getting Black folks. So hang on for me just a minute, y'all. I just don't think the polls are really picking up Black folks right now. So I'm not even, how can you say it? I'm not really putting much credence into the polls at this time. So, at this point, I'm just going to have to say it's close, probably within the margin of error, definitely for Warnock and Deputy Dog. But when it comes down to Kemp and Stacey Abrams, Kemp has an edge, but I don't think that's taken to the account all the Black votes. And once again, y'all check to make sure you're not, any audio is not coming out before you speak. Go ahead.
Yeah. And, I encourage people, again, like you said, check the status. It's going to be close. So, in this instance, like many other times, these are critical elections. We're living in some crazy times, and your vote does count. Yep. So I just say, please, 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 whatever you have to do, there are ways to get rides to and from the polls. Let's really be proactive, folks, because, especially when it comes down to Warnock and that other one, it's almost as critical as a 2020 election, I think. And I really hope that we don't, because according to these so-called polls, they're so close in both of those races. I'm really hoping that we don't have to go to a runoff, because when a runoff happens, that's when people show up once, but a lot of times they don't show up twice.
Yeah, agreed. One other thing, I do want to say happy 32nd birthday to Brittany Griner. Her birthday was this week. Her appeal hearing is coming up as we tape today on the 23rd, the 25th. So, there's not a lot of people aren't putting a lot of credence into or hope into the fact that she'll be into the opportunity for her being released this week. So hopefully, I will say they can. I guess the State Department and the Biden administration can intervene and maybe make something happen. What have you been hearing? You guys been hearing anything other than that?
Anything.
Yeah.
Nope, I haven't heard anything.
Oh, it's almost like the news cycle for this particular issue has come and gone. But it seems like Putin is so hell bent on destroying the Ukraine. It's like, okay, everything else is, not on his radar, and I guess that's just the mark of, a narcissist and I say a sociopath.
Yeah,
because when destroying humans, whether it's Ukraine or even with Brittany Griner, it's more important to destroy humans and humankind than it is to deal with the issues that really matter.
Yeah,
because once you blow, but wait, once he blows up Ukraine and tries to make it part of Russia, it's been so decimated. What is it? What's left? What are you going to do? Leave it like a slum?
Look,
I mean,
I don't even think they're going to happen.
What do you mean by what you say? You don't think what's going to happen?
I don't think he's going to win.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I think sooner or later, because his soldiers are already giving up on him. They wondering, why are we fighting? Mm-hmm. Why are we doing it? His own people don't believe in the fight.
Yeah.
It's hard to win a war when the people who is fighting for you don't believe in the war.
Yeah. And we haven't talked about it a lot on the show, but I do know what's happening is with a lot of the drafts that are happening in Russia. A lot of folks are fleeing the draft.
Right. That's my point. It's like they don't want to be there. Yeah. You have to have the people who actually fighting the war believe in the war, and the people who Ukraine believe in what they're doing, but Russian people do not.
Yeah. So true. So Vi, how much? Let me ask you, Vi. You've been in the military. You're a vet. How long do you see this thing going on? How much further do you see it? I mean, I'm not going to hold you to it.
Maybe 2 at the most.
2 years?
At the most.
Damn.
Because you gotta understand, his people might not want to give in, but Putin is hell bent of not looking bad.
Yeah.
He's trying to save face right now because Putin thought it was gonna last. I don't think Putin probably think it's gonna last him about a month or 2. Yeah. He is shocked that it's going this long.
Yeah, so true. One more thing, I do want to mention before we move on. We'll take a break and we'll come back with the tea. This thing with the oil companies, and basically, I do agree with the Biden administration in terms of using the reserve. But here's the thing, and I'd like for you guys to give us feedback. Go to castropolis.net. You can leave us a voicemail, but I just noticed that certain chains of grocery stores, I'm not going to mention their name for a few minutes until we talk about it a little bit. They keep their gas prices higher than most, whereas, I mean, here's the difference. And I'm within maybe a mile to 2 miles of one particular chain of gas stations. As a matter of fact, this chain of gas stations combined nationally, they had a merger, which hasn't been approved yet, with Albertsons. Well, it's Kroger, okay? Kroger and Albertsons have decided to merge. But I've noticed in some cases, the Kroger gas stations are always higher, even to the point where it might be $3.15, 17 cents. And then when you go to maybe a mile away or 2 miles away, a Walmart is at $2.80, $2.90. I don't know if you guys are noticing that among the different chains.
It depends. Yeah, and it really does depend on where you go, because like you just talk about Kroger.
Yeah.
I've been to Kroger's within maybe like a 5 or 6 mile radius, and none of them have the same gas prices.
Which is crazy.
Depends on where you go.
It's crazy because here's the thing.
It's price gouging.
You and I both know that the city of Atlanta, wherever you have a metro area, the gas might be a little bit higher because they say, just like if you're in LA, if you're in New York, if you're in a congested area, they say the mix is a little higher to suppress the smog. So that's the excuse. The gas grade is higher, so you're going to pay a little bit more in a metro area than the suburbs or even the rural areas. But all but all these areas are within a mile, and for the most part, all of them are suburban. So it doesn't make sense to me. Go ahead, Vi.
I want y'all gas then. I'm keeping my mind corner.
I'm just saying. but one thing, go ahead, Vi.
Before I go to Atlanta, I make sure my gas tank is full.
Yes, bro.
And if I get gas in Atlanta, I put about $10 in it just to get me back home.
That's it, bro.
Gas is outrageous up there. That's what's going on. I thought gas prices went down.
But that's the difference. The difference should be between the city and the country because, again, Atlanta, they say that the gas has a certain grade in it that's supposed to help suppress the smog. It's supposed to be. better on the ecosystem. But I will tell you, if I live in the country, okay, and I'm in the country like you in the country, and if I go a block away and the same company has a 10-cent difference, you know what I'm saying? But I got to let me go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and give my folks at Walmart. And even, what's the other grocery store? The red and white, they have gas there as well. I forgot the name of this. They're a smaller chain. Where I am, in the South Atlanta area. I'll think of it in just a minute, but they also do the same. Their gas is typically around, even right now, under $3. So I'd love y'all's feedback, really and truly. If you are dealing with that, with some of these chains, I'm just interested in knowing why the difference from block to block, store to store, in the same area. It just doesn't make sense. But I've gone on enough. I just wanted to go ahead and get that in. But let's do this, y'all. Let's go ahead. We'll take a quick break and we'll come back with Tonya B's tea. But y'all, really, I'm serious, because all us got to use gas. And I really would appreciate, go to Castropolis.net.
Hey, and if you know some place that has, how people use Gas Buddy when they want to know where it's cheaper. But, I guess another question I would pose to people, how far, and you got to look at, what makes sense. How far would you go out of your way, to not support those price gouging chains to get gas or to save money?
Well, I already told y'all.
No, I understand what he was saying. I totally
If I ain't got to buy gas in Atlanta, I'm going back to Columbus. There you go, Vi.
I am not supporting y'all prices of it.
I don't blame you.
All right, y'all, let's go ahead and take a break and we'll be right back. All right, here we go. Hey, it's Tommy B, host of This Is the G Podcast. To keep our podcast real and unfiltered, we accept limited sponsorship dollars. Instead, we depend on you, our listeners. Now you can support us and look good buying our swag. Our merchandise store is open for fall 2022. You'll find coffee mugs, shirts, hoodies, and there's more to come. Look for the link in our podcast notes of each show, or go to our page at castropolis.net/This Is the G Podcast. That's CASTROPOLIS.net/This Is the G Podcast. Be a G. Support the podcast, y'all. News, politics, pop culture, and that piping hot tea from the one and only Tonya B. This is the G Podcast. Hey, you know what, Tonya B? Since we got a few minutes, let's do it. Let's go ahead and do this.
Every time I come in the kitchen, you in the kitchen.
What's cooking, Tonya B?
Tonya B, before we get into the tea, what you cooking? What you cooking this week?
I decided to go back, and it was one of those times when I wanted comfort food. And I say every now and then, even a girl from up north needs a good old-fashioned Southern old-school pork chop. Now, most people say pork chop, but I had a great aunt who called them a POKE, a pork chop.
Oh.
So yes, yeah, I'm in the kitchen, and yes, I fried the pork chop. But here, listen up, Howard. The key to a tender, juicy pork chop is to use buttermilk brine that you season. That's how you make them nice and tender and crispy and crunchy. So I did that. Then I took some red bliss potatoes. I smashed them up with the peelings are healthy. Do the peelings and just put a little fresh garlic and some butter. And I did my usual Jack Daniels, Jack Daniels candied yams. And of course, you can't have candied yams unless you have smoked collard greens with turkey necks. And that's what I had. And I'm telling you right now, don't come for me unless I send for you. Yes, a chick will eat a pork chop at least 2-3 times a year. And baby, let me tell you something. And don't trim the fat until after it's cooked. You need the flavor. But baby, that bone was everything.
Look at Columbus dog down there.
Let me
ask you,
I love me some pork chop.
You keep going back to the kitchen. You must be cooking. I
am cooking. I'm cooking me some smoked collard greens, some macaroni and cheese, and some greens.
You keep going back, checking in the kitchen. I knew you were doing it. I knew you were up to something. Appreciate your time, Let me tell y'all though. I'm gonna tell y'all this though. I don't like the choice of meats. I'm not happy with a lot of the choice of meats in the store. So you know what I've done? What? I pulled out the tofu on y'all.
Tofu?
Yes.
You don't like meat at all, then.
But I've done it before. But in a lot of cases, I'll go to the grocery store, and I'll look around, and if I don't see a good choice, I'll go tofu, and I'll just flavor it if I want to.
Here's a tip for you. Number one, you have to go early. You can't go after, say, 12 noon, because the best stuff gets put out early. And it's a shame that what we came up knowing as the butcher shop is disappearing. Mm-hmm. The one I used to go to over in Southwest Atlanta it's gone. It's just not. They just knocked the whole thing down. So then the other thing you do is you make friends with the manager and the people in the meat department, like I do. Okay. So when you show up, you're like, hey, boo, I don't need a family pack. Can you just give me like 2-3 pounds, and can you slice them thin, or can you make them big if I want to stuff them? So
you might go up there and talk about, hey, boo.
Hey, Bako, you go to Atlanta. Bako, go to Atlanta. You can say, hey, boo.
Okay, thank you, Ryan. Look, you don't have to be in Atlanta.
I ain't getting
You do not have to be in Atlanta.
Hey.
You do not have to be in Atlanta.
Send all cards and emails to Vi.
and death threats, because you do not have to be in Atlanta.
Send all emails to Vi. Okay.
No, and threats.
I just said no. Equal opportunity.
You can, you can go to a lot of places and say, hey, boo. But anyway.
Well, you can.
Hey, boo.
We can't go.
No, I just go get me some tofu and I'm good. I know y'all crazy. I know y'all think I'm crazy, but I'm going to do it. I mean, I have no, let me tell you, I'm going to say this and we're going to get to the tea. I have no problem marinating tofu long enough to pick up the flavor. Yeah, you marinate it. You
right.
You get. Let me tell you, and I'm telling you, you can jump in. But what I do, you get the water out of it, get all the excess water out of it. If you buy it in a brick, or typically you buy it in a brick, and then you slice it. You can dice it, and then you can bake it. Get the texture. I use firm. I use extra firm, and then after it's marinated, really good in whatever flavor you want. Mix it up in some rice and.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, it's true. My favorite way to do it is, of course, in pad thai. You can do it when you make the base for, say, macaroni and cheese, or any kind of mac and cheese, or if you do scalloped potatoes, even potatoes. You can there's a way to put it in there, and it takes on the taste of whatever you're making. So
yes. Don't be looking at me like that, Vi. Go ahead.
No, unless somebody told you, you would not know. And it's healthy. But every now and then, a chick need a pork chop. That's all I'm saying.
I got you.
But Bako, when you invite me and my friend over there, we don't want no tofu.
Ain't gonna be no tofu for y'all. Ain't no tofu.
Appreciate it. I appreciate it, my friend.
Going to your house for Thanksgiving.
There you go. Well, it won't definitely be no tofu for Thanksgiving. All right, y'all, here we go.
Now then, children, it's time for tea.
It's tea time, y'all. Sipping the tea with Tonya B.
All right, Tonya B, what you got?
Okay, first I want to start off by saying, if you have not seen the movie trailer for Black Panther 2 or even Creed 3, help yourself, call the fire department. That's all I have to say about that. I also want to say, as far as Black Panther goes, Rihanna is not coming to play with you people. Yes, she's doing the Super Bowl in 2023 for the halftime entertainment, but she's got 2 songs on the Black Panther soundtrack. So, just pay attention to that. And, the other thing is, in about a week or so, because people don't know how to be quiet, we will know who the new Black Panther will be. Now, the film hits the big screen November 11th, which is Veterans Day. But the thing about it is, with the pre-sales that started about 2 weeks ago, this is projected to be one of the highest grossing movie opening weekends right now. They're predicting that the gross for Black Panther for the first weekend will be shy of $200 million, which is great because that hasn't happened in a long time.
Long time.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be there November 12th watching Black Panther.
Go ahead.
Okay. So that's what I'm talking about. Next, maybe you have seen, I call him Warren G is the king of the Bay Area G-Funk. You might have seen him on social media in a hospital bed in a hospital gown. And the caption for the picture was, gotta do it. Well, he's okay. He's not, there's no dire situation. What he was saying he got to do is go and get a colonoscopy, which for some reason, y'all can help me understand. Is it a macho ego thing? Why men of color do not take care of their colon and their prostate like they should have. So he's encouraging men to get a colonoscopy. That's what it's all about. And, it's not as invasive as you think, because the thing about it is they give you some good drugs and they knock you out. So you just wake up and, you don't really know what has happened. But I just want to say 5-1 to him for doing that, because prevention is key. You look at people like Kango Kid from UTFO. He ignored the signs, and once he was diagnosed, he did not live. He might have lived 8 or 9 months. And then even Eartha Kitt passed away from colon cancer. Remember the actor Cleavon Little from Blazing Saddles. It's interesting that that he was best known in that movie for the fart scene. He died of colon cancer, as did the legendary Eartha Kitt. And Chadwick Boseman, he died from colon cancer at age 43. He'd been fighting it for 4 years, but to get colon cancer at 39 years old is actually really, really young. So I just say to people, prevention is the best key. You can, diet has a lot to do with prevention. Give up a lot of the fast food and the burgers. Integrate more fruits, vegetables, and fish into your diet, and you can live a much longer life. And that is your health tip from Tonya B in the T. Next up, I want to talk about the singer Miguel, Messy Miguel. He's looking for the sure thing. For the 3rd or 4th time, he and his wife have broken up. She's his high school sweetheart. They're getting a divorce, citing irreconcilable differences, which normally many times includes cheating in the next room. But anyway, it's funny. They were together for 17 years, could not stay married for 3 years. And now Miguel has gone and gotten what this woman's called a pitbull attorney. Her name is Samantha Spector, to represent him. And she's also represented Amber Heard in her divorce, as well as representing Nicole Young, Dr. Dre's ex-wife. So I think that this is just going to get messier. And I just say, Miguel, when was the last time you had a hit record? Now, lastly, I want to talk about, this whole thing. I think it's really sad that a lot of artists that built the R&B format, like the Isley Brothers, like Chaka Khan, Anita Baker, Earth, Wind and Fire, the Whispers, and so on. They've all, to reinvent themselves and to actually get representation on the charts these days, because they can't do it alone. They've done these collaborations. The Isley Brothers' new album is out. They've taken a lot of old songs and just put, a very little stank on them. And that's how they get to be reinvented and be relevant. If you'd ever told me that Fuchsia would be on a record with the Isley Brothers, I would have been like, oh no, he's not. But that's what they're doing now. And also Babyface's album came out this past Friday, and he's the same thing. A lot of collaborations. We know about the song he's got with LMA, which did very well. But, and I get it when you want to give an artist who's not very well known, a shot to be on the come up, or people who are well known. That's what they're doing. But I just wonder, is this going to last? And then I got to share with you, I got an email, and the headline in the email was new music from the legendary Whispers. I'm like, oh, Whispers got another new record out. I supported the last one. It was just okay, but it really it wasn't on R&B terrestrial at AM FM radio at all. And what they're trying to do now, no, you heard what I said. When they came out, there was still such a thing as AM radio, not AM radio, AM. Okay. But the thing is, they can't even get on satellite radio. So it's the digital landscape, is, and I've supported the Temptations. I've supported the Spinners. Even Chaka Khan has an amazing record out right now. And it's a shame they have to fight to be heard. And the other thing about that is that, will this work, and how long will this, I think it's kind of a fad. Will it last? So back to the Whispers. So I go open up the email, and what they're doing is, because they couldn't work for 2.5 years due to the pandemic. And what they've done is decided to re-record their classic Rocksteady, which made Babyface in LA a lot of money. But here's my question. They can do this. Who's going to play it remains to be seen, because if you're like me and a lot of other people, especially people who make those decisions at radio stations, you are going to rock with the classic original version of Rocksteady. So I wish them the best, but I don't know. And, I get they're trying to get control of their catalog because they did not write those songs. I get that part. A lot of artists just re-record the song and smack it up on YouTube, and that's enough. But, I wish them all the best, but I don't know how the Whispers are going to make out with that when, it's a shame you get these groups that get older as members pass away and have health issues. Yeah. When you had one of the twins in Lavelle, and now you just got the twins and the guys in the band trying to step up. Especially the twins, they are the linchpins of the group. It's like, I'm not going to go see the Gap band unless I know Charlie Wilson is there. Otherwise, I feel like I've been duped and bamboozled. So I just wonder, what is it going to take for these? And I don't know, it may not they're going to have to redirect themselves to remain relevant. I don't know that, getting the Isley Brothers and Future or Rick Ross on a song where he's cursing, not necessary. I don't think that's the answer. That's just my 2 cents. I want to know what the people think. What do you think, Tommy B? What do you think, Vi Las Vegas?
Let me jump in and I'll give it to you, Vi. I mean, I just think, ultimately, even for the older demographic, Southern Soul is really, that's where most of the older Black audience is. And what I mean by that is, ultimately, if the Black older audience has their own artist, they have their own artist on the Southern Soul level. Is that your dog? What's happening? I hear somebody beating something up. That ain't me. But what I'm saying basically is if your older audience, your older Black audience has left R&B, which I think Southern Soul is really just another level of R&B with another group of artists, then maybe the Whispers and some of these older artists need to figure out how to get into Southern Soul, and then maybe instead of trying to relive what they did back in the 80s and 70s, just embrace Southern Soul. That's where I see the success of older R&B.
I agree. And one thing I'll say to your credit, to say that's one of the few places that those artists in Southern Soul that have been out for years, they're making millions of dollars and they don't get airplay. So I think you have a very valid point. It might be to their advantage to look into that lane. Yeah. And again, you have to reinvent yourself, because that's one of the few places a lot of these artists can make a really decent living with no airplay. And then when they do shows, they're sold out.
Yeah, because
just by kind of word of mouth.
Everybody can't be Uncle Charlie. You know what I'm saying? That's a different level. Even with Ron Isley had the push of R. Kelly before he got nuts.
Well, so did Charlie. So
yeah,
remember,
they both did.
But you know what?
Yeah.
But let me tell you this. God bless him. Even Charlie Wilson, his last 4 records, even he's struggling now. So he's got to find, and he's doing the same thing, making records with Babyface and Johnny Gill and Casey and JoJo. Yeah. Because again, they know what the reality of it is, I think, Tommy B, and tell me how you feel about this. Yeah. It's number one, their audience is no longer amongst the living, or their audience has moved on.
They've moved on. A lot of them, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely. Vi, you have something to say, and then we'll go to the next story.
They can be like me. I don't want to be the man on the porch, and I just don't care for the music. I just don't, because mostly I go on Spotify or YouTube and find the music, the 90s hits or the 80s hits or the 70s hits, and make a playlist for that type of music. Yeah. Because that's not too much today's music that I really can get into.
And you know what, Vi, let me say this. You make a really good point, and Tonya B, here's the other thing. A lot of these groups don't sound as good as they did in their heyday. They can't. Age. You're right. Because I'm going to say this, and I know you had it on the Byrdwire. I told you, when I heard They'll Never Be, I said, why y'all effing up my song? Don't be messing up, the switch hit. For those of age who know, They'll Never Be by, Bobby and Tommy DeBarge. I'm like,
you can't say it. Don't touch that song. If you can't
exactly. Some things
don't touch it.
Right. Some things need to just be left alone. Everybody can't cover a song. Like, I said, if you're going to cover Aretha Franklin, you better be able to put your foot in it. And, no tea, no shade to Ron Isley, Earth, Wind and Fire, or El DeBarge, who I think saved the song and didn't sing enough. He did. Some things you just need to leave it alone, Let it go.
Yeah. Okay. Your last story. Go ahead. Hit that. You got one more?
No, that was really it. I can also just tell you that I say get your coins together, because next year Janet Jackson, Rihanna, and Beyonce are going on tour, and trust me, those tickets won't be cheap. And I just want to remind you that December 15th, don't forget the 40th anniversary of Beauty and the Beast on ABC TV, starring her. And please, please, please help yourself, especially you young people. Watch The Rebellious Life of Rosa Parks on Peacock. And I think, we always got to give her due, but other people made a lot of money off of the Montgomery bus boycott. And that was not her first foray into activism, but it got so bad with the death threats and the fact that she and her husband couldn't get jobs. That's why they left Alabama and relocated to Detroit. And I'll just call a thing a thing. One person that made money off of her pain was Dr. Martin Luther King, and she was a pawn. She got nothing from it. So if you want to know the real story, her grandnephew is one of the producers of this documentary. So it's on Peacock, The Rebellious Life of Rosa Parks. Help yourself and learn something before Black History Month comes up.
I appreciate you, Tonya B. Here we go.
What you watching this week, Tommy B?
All right, y'all. Just got to say, again, Atlanta on FX, and this was episode 7. So there are only 3 episodes left in the entire series, and I've got to say, I'm rooting for Ern and Van. So let me give them some applause. If you saw the episode, you completely understand where I'm saying with that. And nothing says I love you like a Sade song at the beginning of the episode and a Sade song at the end of the episode. So again, I give it up to Atlanta. It was really a well done, well written episode. Y'all let me know what you think. And here's the other question. It's a tough question for me to ask on the show because I'm a fan of the show. But is season 2 of Abbott Elementary as funny as season 1? I'm kind of struggling this season because I don't think it's as funny as the first season. Also, I'm not a big fan of this new character they just added, and I'm not going to tell too much because some of y'all are still kind of watching it, on demand. But this new character, Ashley, which I remember Ashley, the actress who's playing Ashley, was in the Larry David Curb Your Enthusiasm show.
Right. Was that the one that the teacher's aide?
Yeah.
Is that? Yeah, she can go. She won't trust me. She's not too long for the picnic. She gotta go.
Give her a chance.
No, this is her fourth transfer in 4 months. Is the reason why she's getting popped around. But I'm just saying, I know this is a satire of schools, but in semi-real time, Ashley would not even have a job doing what she's doing. So I'm not checking for her.
Don't know about that. Listen to my friend who's a counselor. She said they are very bad right now for us teachers. They really almost taking anybody these days.
Right, you got a pulse, yeah. So you get an Ashley. You know what? I hear that it's going to change, Tommy B. So just hold on, because they're going to start. If you notice, starting to get more into the lives of the teachers outside of school, like when whatever her name was, Quinta Brunson went to Lisa Ann Walter's house. So hopefully that was just a one-off, and Ashley should not even be a reoccurring character. I'm going to give them a few more weeks, and hopefully they'll get it together.
But I'm here to tell you, I think Twitter's a little uneasy right now. That's all I got. I mean, personally for me, you know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to reflect what Twitter's saying. I'm just telling you what I'm saying as a fan of the show. First season was great. This season, I'm just a little concerned of the direction, and I'm going to support it, but I just hope that they are listening to the feedback that they're getting from their audience, and we'll see where it goes. I'm with you, Vi. I'm going to try to give it a chance, Vi. I'm going to give it a chance. Give it a chance. Also, I'm just curious. Y'all shoot me your feedback. I'd appreciate it. Also, recommended this week. I did check out Marlon Wayans, Kelly Rowland in Curse of Bridge Hollow on Netflix. And for kids and family, it's not bad. I mean, if you're watching Hocus Pocus 2, and because Hocus Pocus 2 is just, I'm telling y'all, freaking huge, man. These families are having like block parties, on the big screen. So it's not going to be as big as Hocus Pocus 2, but it is something kind of, I guess, Netflix alternative for the family. It's not bad. It's not bad.
Those are great Halloween costumes. Hocus Pocus 2 and the Kelly Rowland movie. There will be some residual marketing from that where people will dress up like those characters.
Shit, they ain't got much time this year, but it will be an annual.
Well, they're only going to be out for an hour.
Yeah. Also, I still recommend The Midnight Club from the Flaniverse, Mike Flanagan director. It's a series, so it's a 10-episode series, about an hour per episode. Not bad. It is, it goes from horror to, some comedy, a little comedy to a tearjerker. So the concept is interesting because these are terminal teenagers. They're terminal, so they're in a hospice that's haunted. And the stories.
I read about it. I hadn't saw the movie yet, but I read about it.
You really get into the characters. It's not. I mean, I go back to the fact that I'm a big fan of Midnight Mass, so I got into Flanagan through Midnight Mass, and he uses a lot of the characters from Midnight Mass in the Midnight Club. So we'll see. It is doing well. It's always in the top 5 on Netflix. Also, I got to say congrats to Dwayne The Rock. The Rock, give it up to him, y'all. Black Adam scored $67 million at the box office, and this is crazy, y'all. I don't pay much attention to the critics. I really don't. When it comes down to the critics, and I'm a critic, but I still say I think my view is always from a fan point of view. And
they don't get it. They don't get it.
The critics gave it like 40%, but the fan side of Rotten Tomatoes, 90%. So when you have that much of a gap, I tend to believe. Let me throw my conspiracy theory out there. I think the critics just have a hard on for DC. They just do. And they had this hard on. They love Marvel. Marvel can do no wrong, but they just have a hard on for anything that comes out that's related to DC Comics. I don't know why. DC, Vi, you're a comic book guy. DC's always been kind of, with the exception of like Shazam, DC's always kind of darker, more serious.
Yeah.
It's darker.
Definitely darker.
So it ain't nothing happy-go-lucky, kind of fun, kind of Deadpoolish about it.
I can't wait to see Rock. That movie it
looks good, man. I think it looks good. The other thing I got to give Rock credit for is his whole push for Black Adam was to make sure that we had another black hero, black superhero. Even though it's kind of an anti-hero thing, he pushed to have more inclusiveness on the screen. So, Rock, I'm with you, bro. I'm with you.
He's not black.
No, he is black.
He's not black. Come on.
He's half black.
You mean Black Adam? Go ahead.
Comic book, Rock is definitely black.
Yeah.
I said in the comic book, the character is not black,
even though his name is Black Adam. Yeah. You probably.
And in the comic book, the character ain't no different. He's a bad guy.
Yeah, he's that's why they call him the anti-hero, because he can go bad on y'all in a heartbeat. Yeah,
in a heartbeat.
Yeah. So those are my recommendations. A lot of good stuff out. Again, if you're into the Halloween spirit, man, even the Christmas stuff, y'all are starting to roll out. So
already,
they don't care. They don't care about. What?
Thanksgiving is an eating holiday only.
They don't care about Thanksgiving. It's like from Halloween on November 1st, jingle bells.
That might be the only day Father's Day might be better than Thanksgiving.
Say what now? Which one?
That might be the only holiday. The holiday might be better than this Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I agree.
Might be.
I agree. All right, y'all. We'd love for you to weigh in. Go to the People Poll. You can go to castropolis.net, hit the People Poll. We'd love your feedback, or you can go to social media and leave us some comments as well. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. I put out a post this week, and I wanted to hear on how people are saving their money. Because, I'm telling you, I shop and Tonya B, you cook a lot. Vi, you cook. And there is a noticeable difference in the freaking grocery store. I ain't gonna lie to you. I know, because I shop every month and, every other week. And when I look at items that were like 98 cents that are now like $1.25, $1.28, that makes a difference.
I got one better. One better for you.
Go for it.
I'll just say last week or earlier, before things got crazy, you could get a can of cranberry sauce for 50 cents, maybe 69 cents. Mm-hmm. This year, a can of cranberry sauce is $2.
That's crazy. Oh, my God.
So that is a 300% markup.
And then when you look at the eggs, go ahead, Vi. Sorry.
Because I can't, not working in the food business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can't, cranberries is a hard thing to get these days.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get cranberry now, and I can't hardly find any cranberry.
Wow.
Yet.
Wow.
Yes.
So let me ask you, Vi, because you are in related to the food business to a certain extent. You are. Eggs. How do you deal with the eggs? Because eggs are high. Eggs are higher, man. How do you deal with that?
I just have to buy them. Just have to suck it up and buy them.
Wow. All right. I ask people to go to castropolis.net on a post this week, and I'm gonna give you an example of what I got back. So here we go.
So how I save money when I go to the grocery store, I really use these 3 principles. Basically, I take advantage of sales. I definitely take advantage of the buy one, get one free. So the BOGOs. I every now and then will clip coupons, and if it's something I need to buy in bulk, I'll buy those places like Sam's or Costco's because you can, you save in the end buying in bulk. And then lastly, I do join most stores' loyalty programs because a lot of the stores will give you points off certain items if you buy their brand. Oh, and also if you can buy good generics, I'll buy good generic brands as well.
I appreciate that. One of our followers, loyal followers, Gigi, and again, she mentioned she takes, definitely advantage of sales. BOGO, buy one, get one free, wherever you can find them. And damn, wherever they have enough in stock. Also the coupons, when you buy in bulk, go to Sam's or Costco, loyalty programs, you get become a part of the loyalty programs. And of course, buy generic. But one thing I've noticed with the generic stuff, people are buying the generic stuff. The store brand stuff is gone. I mean, it used to be the store brand stuff.
They're buying up everything.
But they really buying up the store because it's cheaper, I guess. So all the store brand.
Definitely cheaper.
Yeah,
it's definitely cheaper now.
Is it just me? Am I noticing just the store brand stuff is gone?
No.
That's everywhere. That's everywhere.
I was trying to buy breakfast meat sausage. I couldn't find any.
Wow.
They had plenty bacon, but no sausage. I'm going, good grief.
Say that one more time. Say it again, Vi.
Plenty bacon, but no sausage. You're wrong, Miguel.
I love it.
You're wrong, Miguel.
Country commentator, y'all. Y'all give it a I haven't heard that in a minute, man. Appreciate that, Bob. Thank you, Bob. Right. You have one more thing, Tonya B? Tonya B held her hand up. I love you, bro. You know that. Good.
No, I was just saying, and again, just, when I cook, and one of the things I do is experiment with different things. And for those of you who might use buttermilk to make a pound cake, people sometimes use buttermilk, even in their mac and cheese and their casserole dishes. Yeah. And buttermilk is not cheap, but here is a way you can get the same texture and the same taste. It's cheaper to buy generic sour cream. So if your recipe calls for a cup of buttermilk, you take 3/4 of a cup of sour cream and add a 1/4 cup of water, and booyah, you've got buttermilk.
Did you say
what's that?
Did you say tofu?
Wow. Leave that tofu alone.
I'm sorry.
So that is
tofu.
As we approach, Thanksgiving and things like that, as I find tips that people can use to save money, and that's one of them. And the thing about it is, if you going to use, say you get it and you have some left over from Thanksgiving, but you're going to use it for Christmas. Yeah. Just double wrap it in plastic and put it in your freezer. You can take it out and use it, let it melt, room temperature on its own, and you can still reuse whatever's left. So 3/4 cup of sour cream, a 1/4 cup of water. That is the best buttermilk substitute that there is, and the most economical. Because if you've ever looked at the price of buttermilk, it's not cheap. No. That's how you do it.
Good stuff. Hey, y'all. By the way, as we get ready to wrap up, I do want to say next week, and you'll know this name, Vi, our guest is going to be Reverend Derek Lockwood, a good friend, and he's taking on a noble cause. I'm on his text chain on his church, and he is a co-founder for an event that deals with race. And it's a discussion called Equipping for Hopeful, Honest, and Courageous Conversations on Race. And again, Reverend Derek Lockwood is the co-founder. It's happening Monday, November 7th here in Atlanta at 5:30 at the Gather Spot. And I'm going to have the link, the Eventbrite link for this. It's a free event on the podcast page. But I had to, when I saw this, because he and I had a conversation. I'm on a text chain again with his congregation, his parishioners, and his congregation would be the best word to use for that. We had a conversation one-on-one, and I was saying, well, why isn't there any kind of ecumenical effort against a lot of this racism that's going on? I mean, you're seeing what's happening with Cuckoo. You know who he is. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not calling y'all know. I'm not going to say his name, but you know what I'm talking about. We don't get on the show. We report what's going on. We're not here to try to divide people. We just say what's going on. In a lot of cases, you can just play the sound bites, and the sound bites kind of say it all. But my point is, when you got, the people like a Candace Owens or Ye, a lot of these folks, or a Tucker Carlson out there attacking Black female anchors, for no reason. Shout out to Tiffany Cross and, the Cross Connection, for just, stating facts and having guests on and having diverse conversations. But is attacked not only by Carlson, but it's basically just supported by the network. I'm glad that he's coming together with different races on the panel, different religions on the panel, because these people are just profiting from racism, pretty much, a lot of these folks. And, we don't do that on this show. We don't try. We really just kind of report what's going on, and a lot of it's not good. So it's called Equipping for Hopeful, Honest, and Courageous Conversations. Reverend Lockwood's going to be on the show next week, spend some time with us beginning of the show. And it is on November 7th. This is the night before election. So hopefully that'll just keep y'all awake for November 8th. But luckily, y'all won't need to use November 8th because you would have already voted. So either way, I want to thank in advance Reverend Lockwood, Derek Lockwood. Vi knows Derek. We all attended Troy University way back in the day.
Derek's my frat brother.
Yeah, and Derek also is an Atlanta native, Brown High School. I think he's in Brown. Am I right, Vi? Brown High School? I think
you're right.
And so, I've got some interesting questions for him, especially coming out of APS, going to Troy and his advanced degrees. What his experience has been like. And, it's good to have people having that discussion from our generation. You know what I mean? There are a lot of folks who've been around a long time, still having those conversations, but we need to hear it from the new generation or the newer generation. And I'm glad we're having this again, almost like an ecumenical conversation among all the different religions, all the different people. So kudos to you, Reverend Lockwood. Look forward to having you on next week. Tonya B Vi, I'll start with you, Vi. Any final thoughts? Got any final thoughts?
Gas, people. Don't get your gas in Atlanta. if you can afford not to get your gas in Atlanta, don't get it up there. But truly though,
you will get hit in the head.
On the food thing, on this food thing, what I normally do on my food, since I'm a single man and no one in the house besides me, I buy most of my meat through like Omaha Steak or something like that, and I buy like every 3 months. And I just buy most of just veggies.
Okay, gotcha.
Fresh veggies. And I'm not going post get a lot of myself also. So I bought the meat online, have it mailed to me, get enough to last me about 3 months, and I buy veggies like once or twice a week.
Yeah. All right, Tonya B, any final thoughts?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Tonya B.
No, I say, again, now that we have, these challenges with the economy, just the cost of existing, living, and eating and things along that line, just do a little investigative work, before, like I said, we used to go in the store and you could just pick up whatever, not really looking at the price. But when it comes to the price of gas, even things like toilet paper, paper towels in your food, just take a little extra time and you'd be surprised what you save.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, Vi, you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's go ahead and do it. Here we go.
The people complain about their problems instead of praying. Some problems can be solved by careful thought or by rearranging our priorities. Some can be solved by discussion and good counsel. But some problems can be solved only by prayer. We would like to make a determined effort to pray when we feel like complaining, because complaining only raises our level of stress. Prayer requires our thought and emotions and prepares us to listen. Exodus chapter 17, verse 2. Why are you complaining? Why are you putting the Lord to the test? In other words, people, stress, we don't need it. It's unhealthy. And it's just not, stress does not solve anything. So just pray. You got a problem, think about it. Do the best you can. Pray to the Lord. And, I always said, if you can do something, do it. If you can't, don't worry about it. It'll take care of itself. Amen. Amen.
All right, Vi. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, Vi. Good word for y'all worried about them eggs. Come on.
Hallelujah.
Stop. Don't forget, y'all, the Nightmare Journal is on Kindle Vella. Go to castropolis.net. First two stories are up now. Third story's out in about a week. and they're free. Make sure you are early voting. Don't put it off till November 8th. Go ahead and early vote, y'all.
Please don't.
Please don't. And with that, y'all, episode 151 is in the can. And we are out of here. Peace and power to the people, y'all. Have a good week.
Peace out.
Have a great week, everybody.
Get your gas when you come to Atlanta.
You've been listening to the G Podcast with your host, Tommy B. The G Podcast is a production of the Castropolis Podcast Network. Thanks for listening.